Yeah, we're live, boys. At least on my end.
Oh,
We're
Hey,
live.
oh,
welcome to Olip. I'm Justin.
I'm Cody.
I'm Tim.
Just break no energy.
Hi.
Now that we're all acquainted.
Bro, I just woke up.
Yeah, you saw his hat. It was a
I did
mess.
see his hat. You know what? I honestly I did the same fucking thing when I came home today. Talked to my wife a little bit or whatever, and then my bigger kid ran over my smaller child, so we
Oh,
sat down on
no.
the couch together.
What do you
Uh,
mean ran over?
Basically, she was running through the house and she just like bumped into her or knocked her over. You know what I mean?
Oh, I didn't know if maybe they had like a little I don't know,
Oh, my
Oh
like a
goodness.
no,
little Barbie dream car or
Oh,
something. I
like
don't
those
know.
no.
like those motorized vehicles or whatever, acting
Well,
like it's
you
what
said ran her over, so I was
I
like,
mean.
wait,
Yeah,
did
but
she run over her or did she
literal ran.
run over her?
This isn't what was that? What was that Simpsons game on the
Hit and
PS2?
run.
Hit and run. Yeah, this isn't Simpsons Hit and Run. All right,
Man,
You
this is
sure?
that's a good game.
yeah. But anyways, yeah, I came home and I picked her up after that, and we sat on the couch and we both proceeded to pass out because
Nice.
things I can't say on stream, but this week has been hectic as fuck. So for me, anyways. So
Yeah.
it's just been a little
Hectic
while.
enough to make you end up buying some games for the Switch that now you kind of regret.
Yeah. I bought Monster Hunter Rise because I thought I was gonna just play my Switch Lite for
Good
an
game though.
unforeseeable amount of time. I wasn't sure. I'm not denying the game, but I'd rather play it on 60 FPS and some okay graphics instead of 30 FPS and not okay graphics.
I
So
kind of wish I hadn't bought it on the Switch because it's just going to be a couple more months before I have a Steam Deck, and I feel like that would have been a much more enjoyable experience.
probably 100%
I,
probably.
You need something to play on your Switch.
I don't really ever touch that thing, though.
Pokemon Legends Arceus is what you
I
need to
don't.
play on your Switch.
I don't think I've played my Switch in like what month is it? Is it
What
February
month is it? It's
still?
February, yeah.
It's not even what
Elden
day is
Ring
it?
hasn't come
Bro,
out yet. It's still
it's
February.
been like a month and a half since I
Oh my
touched my
god.
Switch.
Dude,
That's okay.
I've been putting so much time into my Switch between Pokemon and the demo for Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
Many hours
You know,
spent.
I actually looked for that game to see when it released before
Oh,
I bought Monster. I was like, Project Triangle Strategy will give me hours of content upon hours, and it doesn't come out to the 4th. And I was like,
yeah.
I might not have internet connection, so I can't do that.
Got some time to wait on that one yet.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
yeah.
it's really, the demo's really good. I did both paths that are available in the demo, and like every battle took me a good like 40 minutes just to like get through it, playing on hard mode. Very satisfying combat, very satisfying.
My God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least it's a satisfying 40 minutes instead of it just being like a slog. And you're just
Exactly.
like, when will it end? You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. So what'd you break now, Tim?
I saw that a bunch of games had updates, and I pressed one, and it's a 64 gig update, and I'm just not going to do that right
Is that
now.
Cyberpunk?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually do want to try the next gen update.
I'm curious, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say before we get into that, what do you guys been playing? Obviously, Triangle Strategy.
Yes, very
Anything
good.
else for you there, Justin?
That's the main thing. I've still been working on Pokemon, but primarily dunked hours in Triangle Strategy. Very excited for that to come out. Lots of things to theorize about the story and the characters. Like, I feel like it's gonna have a lot of depth to it and be
I
up
agree.
there in regards to like real solid tactical RPGs.
Yeah. What about you, Timmy? You play anything this week on
I
that fancy new
played.
laptop?
So yeah, I've been playing AC Odyssey on my laptop. It's still like Odyssey is still one of the more demanding games that's released in the last few years. Surprisingly, like I just like it runs really well on my laptop though, which is awesome. That thing's actually a beast. Like it doesn't run things as well as my desktop, obviously, but like
Right.
compared to the living room PC that has my old graphics card in it and my old that thing smokes it. Oh my god. My laptop is like just leaves that thing in the dust. It's ridiculous.
How many
Uh,
people can sit here and talk about their basement desktop, their gaming
Shut
laptop, and
up!
their living room PC? I just want
And
to point this out real quick in this
leave,
conversation. You
leave me
named
alone.
3 different computers.
I also happen to have one set up in my bedroom. That's not a desktop. That's a laptop with a broken screen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have another laptop. But it
This guy.
has a 2060 in it, so it's nice. I guess I can play games.
Oh
I play games
God.
wherever I want. It's fine. It's cool. I like to give myself the flexibility. Some people like cars. I like computers. It's fine. But the other thing, should I tell my Warhammer story?
Yeah, I mean, we could dive into that. Why not?
So I played Warhammer a bit tonight. Finally got into Total War Warhammer 3. I should be specific because I've played the hell out of Warhammer and Warhammer 2. But Total War Warhammer 3, which by the way I think is Creative Assembly's like magnum opus. It's so far I'm only like an hour in and I'm like, this is awesome.
I love the graphics right now.
And yeah, it looks gorgeous. And I was
Yeah.
playing it with my kids in the living room because I'm a very responsible adult. It's fine. And my son, he likes watching me play Warhammer games, going back to like Warhammer 40K Dawn of War. This kid, when he was like 3, used to run around the house screaming blood for the blood god because of the in-game audio and my gentle encouragement. So tonight I looked at him and he was like, he kept asking me if we were playing as a dragon. I went, no, buddy, we're playing as Chaos Demon. I said, you can say blood for the blood god. He goes, no, I don't want to. I said, what? He said, no, I think I'm too big for that now. I was like,
He's
what?
moved on, dude.
So then I looked at my daughter and I said, Arya, say blood for the blood god. And she goes, blood for the blood god. And so Logan throws his head back and goes, skulls for the skull throne.
It's still in him.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing I've ever done. I am a good parent, okay?
You are a great parent.
Oh,
man.
Oh, Sonny in the chat. Thanks for the follow.
Yeah.
I missed you guys. Yeah. We missed you
We
too.
missed you.
We missed you too, Sonny.
Yeah, we haven't seen you in a long time, but we're glad you're back. And so you can hear about Tibbs' children screaming skulls for the skull throne.
Classic.
Like, that's not fucking weird at all.
It's not
Classic
weird.
Logan.
It's perfectly natural. Have
You know,
met me?
if they yelled that in public, you may be in trouble. Just say.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just it's totally natural.
Yeah. So yeah, I got about 45 minutes to an hour into Total War. And yeah, it's very like focusing. What the dude?
Yep, that's my wife. It's fine.
I know, but it freaks
Just-
me out because I was
ghost.
just
The ghost. Just like
Cody's in
I
Phasmo
saw it.
mode.
so I have the Twitch here, so I saw it after you.
but I just wasn't expecting it. Like
Oh.
I start talking, and all of a sudden I see doo, 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 like
Just
just
yeah,
trying to
it
sneak
doesn't.
by.
The red lights in here do not
Not
help at
help.
all.
No,
It
they
definitely
don't.
looked like
They
a
really-
horror movie.
Anyways, yeah, I've been playing Total War. I got about 45 minutes into it. I'm excited that they went kind of like all in on chaos with this, because before you just had like the chaos faction, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like pared down into like the literal different factions. So like Tim and I mean, we both chose Korn, right? But you can
Oh,
also be Tzinch, right? You can be Nurgle as your armies and stuff like that.
If you don't-
You can be Kislev.
If you pick Slanesh, there's something wrong with you.
I mean,
That's all I have to say.
No kink shaming, but I agree.
yeah, but I'm happy they were able to kind of go all in on that finally, because I think that was the one faction that hadn't seen like all the love that it probably could. But you know what though, like the lore and stuff in Warhammer, like Warhammer Fantasy is so deep and everything that like I'm sure that all the factions could use a little bit more love.
Sure.
But I'm not sure about this, but like from Warhammer 1 and or Total War Warhammer 1 and 2 connected like map wise, right? So I'm not I'm assuming that this connects like those two did. But since this is on Game Pass and I don't have it through Steam, Tim and I were talking about this earlier. We're not sure if it's reading the files.
Right.
I
You know
don't
what I
think
mean?
I don't think it is, but that is something that we talked about earlier is what I loved about the first two, and I think this will come later. But like all of my DLC from Total War Warhammer 1 carried
Yeah.
over to 2. I can play as the Beastmen if I want. I can play any of those campaigns, any of those
Right.
factions in Warhammer 2 through the Mortal Empires campaign, which is like, here's everybody. And that's not in on launch, but it also wasn't in on launch. I had to think about this a bit.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't in on launch for Warhammer 2. And then it came after like maybe a month.
So they may add it, so.
They may add it, but because I'm playing it through Game Pass and I own all that DLC through Steam, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably will rebuy it through Steam at some point, because that is a game that I just want to own forever. But yeah, playing it through Game Pass is awesome. But I really am sitting here going, God, I can see the Norse. I just want to play as the Norska. I love
They're
playing
cool.
Norska.
They're very
Such a
cool faction.
I literally because it was before I had played it yet,
Mhm.
and I told Cody I was like, I need to play with my war mammoths. I can't
Oh my
not
God.
have my war mammoths.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need those back. That was so fun.
Giving me PTSD to playing Age of Empires with Andrea, just like the sound of elephants in the distance.
Oh man.
Oh,
Oh Jesus.
Sani got her driver's permit last week. Sick. Learning to drive manual. Stalled 4 to 5 times before I just smacked the gas second gear in the parking lot. Nailing it.
Hey,
You'll
it's
get
all a
there.
learning curve. Hey, look.
I tried to drive a
when
manual.
when I was
once, it
learning how to
sucked.
drive a manual, I killed my dad's car.
Yep.
Now, in my defense, it was 2010, and that car was a 1992. So I don't actually believe that I killed it. I think it died while I was driving. But
Good excuse for it to die.
he blames me, so it's my
That's
fault.
so-
I killed the car.
I tried to learn how to drive manual when I was in Afghanistan. Trying to learn how to drive manual on a Toyota Helix that looks like it's been put together from 5 other Toyota Helixes wasn't the greatest experience I've ever had, but you know, that's just what it is. But anyways, let's get into some of these topics because there's actually an ass ton of them.
Yeah.
Since we already mentioned Cyberpunk, I wanted to start there.
Yeah.
I did. So, have you guys seen anything on this? Because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen super good things about this. I've seen okay things, but nothing that's made me like want to jump back into the game. I guess I could say.
So the thing that I've heard that would make somebody want to jump back in the game, and in your case especially, is you were only
I
playing
only
it
played
on
on
Xbox.
console. Yeah.
The performance on console has gone from a broken, buggy, jittery mess
Yeah.
to on par with the PC release that came out before. And the PC release got some shiny new textures and toys added into the game. There's a lot of quality of life updates. The mirror no longer shows you as bald when you look at it for no reason. You can actually, in Cyberpunk, do character customization after you've created your character. You can change your hairstyle. You can change your appearance. So there's a lot of things that, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll probably play through it at some point. Like,
try a different build.
But it also was a hit with me, right? Like I really enjoyed the game. It wasn't perfect. I'm not still playing it right now, but like it's a very good game. It just was not what was promised. So,
yeah, it didn't have the staying power of, say, an Elder Scrolls title. One of the things that I thought would be good is they're improving like the crowds in the game, which was like a huge detriment. Like the way that the random NPCs were in the world and how they reacted and everything really just like pulled me out of the experience whenever anything happened involving the NPCs that were just ambient characters. They didn't do anything. They didn't react. No.
So here's my biggest thing. I do agree from everything I've read that the performance and everything is better, but from people who are going back and playing it now and playing the update, who originally played it on PC, say that the game is still buggier than their PC playthrough when the game originally released.
Uh-oh.
So
I've
that
seen
to
that anywhere.
me, that to me is not a good enough improvement to bring me back to the game, especially with a 64 gig update. The game is almost like 200 gigs. Like what else? Like come on now.
People
Like
with
what
the
else?
data cap.
Well,
Yeah,
how much of that 64 gigs is overriding old data though? I don't know because
either do I.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different fucking conversation. You know what I mean? But it's just either way, you still have to download that 64 gigs. Like Justin said, the data cap folks or whatever. Like
That's
yeah,
rough.
yeah. So that's kind of I read that from a couple different places, um, and so I wasn't excited. I wasn't really excited when they announced it. Honestly, I'm like, you're kind of a year and a half late at this point. Um,
I
especially with
almost would rather the game had just come out now without
I
with what happened before.
right.
Like, and I again, because I've only played it on PC. I had an enjoyable experience the first time, and I was able to run it on my. At the time, I had an RX 590 for my
Oh yeah.
graphics card.
Yeah, yeah.
Even
Like,
on
it
there.
was fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that I haven't gone back to yet, but I could see myself trying out again at some point. And like some of these things are cool. Like they talk about rebalancing the gameplay, the economy, and the loot systems. Like
Mhm.
give it a whirl again. I did see they added support for the DualSense on the PS5, but they didn't add any DualSense support for the PC, which is unfortunate.
I think that's going to be pretty consistent, though. I don't think because like you could connect your DualSense to your PC, but you don't get the actual like features. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it's a
what the fuck's the
shame.
point? You know,
I almost wonder how much of that is
Sony.
on like how much of that is on developers for not integrating it with their game, and how much of it is maybe the device being locked by firmware so
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
those functions won't work with PC.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I don't know, but that's just a thought.
I will say this. All right, I've played a few games with DualSense with like on my PS5. Right, I got Sifu, got Madden. I played Hell's Let Loose, and that. Dude, it's not that revolutionary. I'm just a hot take, whatever you hell you want to call it or whatever. It's like most of the games still don't utilize it that much, right?
Sure, just
Like,
like the Joy-Cons have all this technology that no games even
yeah,
use anymore.
Sifu does a really cool thing in the opening scene of Sifu. You start out in the rain, and you can. It's really cool. You could feel the rain droplets hitting your character, right? So when it's utilized, it's cool. I don't feel like developers are spending enough time utilizing these features. I bet
Yeah.
you Horizon Zero Dawn has some really cool features in it. I bet you that game does. Um,
I've actually like mapped my PC, like my Joy-Cons to
mhm,
my PC before, and like the gyros in them actually work, which is
right.
kind of cool. But you know what I hate? And I always hear, "Hey, gyros are really good for shooters and stuff." I actually hate playing shooters on my Switch in handheld
Yeah.
because like I move around a bunch. And
Mhm.
so every time I move, the gyros are like, "Hey, you want to look over here, right? Oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh."
I think
So I'm
handheld, it's really not good, but if you're playing with the
Yeah.
Joy-Cons or the Pro controller, it's better.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, especially with the Pro controller, I found I like doing that with the Pro controller.
Mm.
So, random aside, Steam Deck has gyros, and I'm hoping that that's going to be like a really revolutionary feeling
Yeah, because
thing.
it felt revolutionary even on like playing Splatoon on the Wii U and using the
Mhm.
gyro for that. So having the Steam Deck, and if they utilize it, that'll be such a wider audience of people who get to experience it for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't. I think people like handhelds and consoles need to stop fucking with gyros. Gyros is VR tech. All right, like it is what it is.
No,
Like
dude, gyros is bringing parity to console players who get stomped on by fucking mouse and keyboard players.
I mean I don't know. I guess I don't really agree with that overall. But I just yeah I don't gyros. I've never had good experiences with them. I think they're fun for like little like Wii sports games or Nintendo Switch sports games or
Oh
whatever.
man, I feel like they offer you so much more nuanced precision in a shooter on a console controller. Because it's not
Mm,
just gyro, it's like joystick plus gyro for like the
right.
fine tuning. Yeah.
Maybe I haven't messed with it enough.
Could
Uh,
be. Could be.
it's probably true. What also is true is that Lost Ark is a very fucking popular game, and it is now what the second highest concurrent players ever on Steam or some nonsense
Yeah,
like that.
dude. 1,325,000 people at once.
Did you guys get a chance to play it at all?
No, I've not.
So I played it with Ben a little bit last week.
What'd you think?
It's Diablo with gotcha mechanics, is what it is.
Addicting, heard?
Yeah. So
So
I mean,
Ben's gonna play that for the next 10 years. Understood.
correct. I will say. So I made some weird design choices that obvious. I mean, the game is old, so like it feels like it's part of its time. But you can't create your own character necessarily. Some like you can, but like the classes are locked to certain sex, basically.
Oh,
Yeah, I
sure.
saw an
Yeah.
Well,
article
that's
that
like
was
Diablo, right?
mostly about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where like Diablo, your class was like, I don't know, like I feel like you could be a male or female barbarian or whatever. Like, am I crazy?
I thought the
You are
barbarian was
crazy.
like an old man.
That's a male.
Yeah, maybe it is locked. But like, I don't know. I thought it was funny. I saw an article from Kotaku that was like, um, it was talking about how it feels 10 years old when it comes
I
to
mean, it
how
is
it
10 years.
treats, but
Right.
like it was
Because it is.
specifically like when it was how it treats women. And I was like, first of all, I think the game came out in like 2014, so it's practically 10 years old.
Yeah.
And second of all, like I don't the only thing that bothers me about everything is the gender lock classes. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of yeah, give me a toggle. Like I've really grown used to games letting me pick, and Ubisoft is actually really good, been great about this. Um, you can be Alexios or you can be Kasan. You can be a
Yeah.
male or
Yeah.
female in Far Cry now. You can
Right.
be like Ivar can be a guy or a girl.
Right.
Like yeah, there's a lot of cool things with that, and like I think anybody should give a fuck about it. Like it's should just
Yeah. I
let
mean,
people.
it's yeah. I will say this in general, like the sex thing doesn't really bother me, but like for certain games, like there's some games I normally pick being a girl. When I play Pokemon, for whatever reason, I normally make a girl character. I feel like the customization of the game just fits girl
Oh, yeah.
characters better.
And in Pokemon, there's like varying customization options. Like in
Right.
Arceus, the
Yeah.
female buzz cut, I think looks really
Mm.
good. But the male buzz cut, I
Mm.
hate it. It looks stupid.
Yeah. I will say I kind of regret not making a female in Arceus, but that's a whole different fucking thing. But anyways, yeah. So like, there's that. I ended up making a female, and I was like, you know what? It's a South Korean game, full blown anime chick. You know what I mean? Like, I just pink and blue hair, super high pitched voice. I was like, I'm just all in on this or whatever. Um, and I will say, like, the particle effects and shit in that game are on point. They look great. I was playing as like the sorceress chick or whatever, and had this like freaking pillar of fire that would come out of the ground. It looked so good. I was like cackling or whatever on the thing on the while I was talking to Ben as I was doing it or whatever when I unlocked it, because it's just like the monsters just like straight like explode, like just
Oh, hell
blood
yeah.
splatter everywhere. It's very good.
Satisfying.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. But I will say, like, my only problem with Lost Ark right now is like if you can get into it, I think there's a lot of content there, you know, because the game's been around for a long time as is. There's a lot of content there, but the problem for Lost Ark, I feel like right now, is that for new players, there's too much. It is so much shit is going on. They're like, there's these 18 different collectibles you can get throughout across the entire world, and talk to these people and talk to these. Oh, you got like 5 different currencies in this game, and blah blah blah. And you're just like trying to figure out, like, it doesn't feel like they gave an opportunity for new players to like really learn,
Yeah.
and more like they're just like, hey, we're probably gonna have a lot of our old fan base replaying this now on Steam, so we're just gonna just steamroll it through to
I,
get them to where they want to be.
I feel like that's
So
especially
Steamroll it. I see what
egregious.
you did there.
Oh, God.
yeah,
That's so egregious for a game that's already been out for a long time. It's like, I feel like
right.
that's something the devs really need to take into consideration. Like, what is the new player onboarding experience going to be
Yeah,
like after we've
it's
added
not
all
good.
this stuff?
It's
Like,
not good.
that's how I felt trying to get back into Final Fantasy 14 in the past. I like
Yeah,
log in and I'm just like, all right, there's too much. I
yeah,
can't.
I have
yeah,
a question.
sir.
So this basically has the opposite problem of New World right now for new players. There's just in New World you get to the
The cap.
you max level and then you're like, all right, now there's not shit to do. I'm all out of content.
Mhm.
Whereas in Lost Ark, there's just you get in and you're like, oh fuck, I'm completely overwhelmed from the start.
Yeah.
So does that make you at all? Do you think New World's ever going to get there? Because I haven't heard anything about New World. Like I know both of you really liked it for a while, and it's been radio silence for like 3 months now. Like since you stopped
So
playing.
I haven't played it since October 31st, since Halloween. All right,
Yeah.
so I haven't played it since I put about 85 hours in. Didn't hit max level cap. Here's my thing about New World or whatever. They have the same problem that every new MMO has. Basically, every new MMO that ever releases doesn't have enough end game content for when people reach that point.
Right.
So the difference really is that Lost Ark has been out so long that they've had time to develop that content. You know what I mean? While New World is still basically just a baby, and like they've lost players and stuff like that. But the thing that made I think myself and Justin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that made us kind of lose interest overall in New World is that the player versus player faction stuff is broken,
Yeah.
right? Because there's too many ways to get around like capturing things, like there's like
There were a
glitches and
lot
stuff
of
or whatever.
glitches of abuse that led
Yeah,
to one side just taking over our side's territory, and there were no
yeah,
repercussions from the moderators or devs or whatever.
right. So it's just kind of like that's kind of what was kind of the turnoff. I still think New World's combat is the most fun I've ever had for an MMO. It's just a really enjoyable time. And like exploring New World was always a lot of fun or whatever, but knowing that there's nothing really there at the end game and that the world v world stuff or whatever is basically broken, I was just like, like
Yeah.
I'll come back to this once it's been fixed, kind of thing. I know I'm gonna go back to New World at some point, but like if I take 2022 off because there's all these other fucking games come out, and then I go back to the beginning of 2023 and check it out, I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Amazon's not gonna shut it down, so it's just
And that's one
I
of the
guess
great
that
things about the game too is you bought it once, you don't have to pay a subscription fee, so you can always just go
right.
back to it whenever.
so I
Hmm.
guess that's my follow-up question is so now that Amazon has flopped on every other game they've published and they have two like hit MMOs. Like and yeah, hopefully New World eventually gets to the point where Lost Ark is where it's like overwhelming, it's almost there's too much stuff to do. Here's
Yeah,
everything so
yeah.
that people can enjoy it forever. Do you think that they're going to just keep rolling with MMOs, or are they going to pivot and try and go back to single player games? Maybe they acquire some single player studios because obviously I think they've shown that that's not quite their forte. But
Man, I
wow.
think acquiring a studio might be good. I heard there's a studio that was looking to get acquired recently.
Or is open to.
Yeah. Before we hit that, I do just want to say, I think you're gonna see them pivot back to single players. Not even pure single player, but maybe just like a normal single player multiplayer experience. Just because MMOs take forever to develop.
It's a lot of
Like
systems.
it's not
You-
yeah, this is not your normal four-year cycle. You're looking 6, 7, 8 years to really develop an MMO.
yeah.
Um, so if
I
they want to continue to put out games, they're gonna have to go back to normal form instead of just
it,
the MMO genre.
it kind of makes me wish they hadn't canceled their Lord of the Rings MMO though, because like I haven't been into an MMO since.
RuneScape.
No, I played with you guys. I played a fair bit of I can't think of it.
Some other
When I
MMO.
first got my laptop, 2012, 2013.
Guild Wars.
Guild Wars
Guild
2.
Wars
Yes.
2.
Yeah,
I
Hmm.
yeah,
played a fair bit of Guild Wars 2, but it's been almost a
yeah,
decade. And like I
yeah.
played a little bit of Elder Scrolls Online, but like pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Okay, we can actually go two ways here. Do we want to talk about Ubisoft or we want to talk about
Yes.
Bungie?
We can just mention Ubisoft.
Yeah, okay. So Ubisoft basically came out during their what was their earners call or something like that, and they were like, you know what? We're not looking to be acquired, but we're not going to say no if somebody's going to offer up the cash.
Yeah.
And like basically saying it's like I don't know, man.
It's like putting up alarm bells like, "Hey, Amazon, Microsoft, Sony,
Right.
Yeah,
It's
call
like
me.
dodgeball, man. Xbox is picking all these kids, and Ubisoft's like the wimpy one that no one wants to pick for their team.
Well,
What's wrong with me?
we talked about multiple times how like Sony was they acquired Destiny because
yeah,
Cody's like they need a shooter. Well,
yeah.
Tom Clancy would give you a lot of options for
I,
that if
I
you
don't
want.
I don't think anybody's gonna acquire Ubisoft as long as they go down this route with Quartz. I think they're on their own.
Quartz?
I don't know about
The
that.
NFT stuff.
Ah,
Somebody will buy
No, I don't. None of the major publications are really behind that. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. You know what I mean? I don't think Amazon's looking to get into that. They're like, we make enough fucking money as is. We don't need to worry about goddamn NFTs. Tencent, I guess, might because they're probably
Well,
just because they just print money
right.
basically. You know what I mean? Like,
the other thing with that is if one of those other organizations were to acquire Ubisoft and they're not into the NFT thing, that would be a relief for most of Ubisoft employees who have been like rebel. Like
yeah,
I saw stories about their internal group chat because Ubisoft has been gifting NFTs to their employees. Like, hey, we know you don't like these, but here are some. Do you like them now?
yeah,
And they're like,
Wow.
no. Literally, there was a quote in one of the posts. I can't remember where I saw it. Might have been in a Skill Up video, or maybe I read an article. I don't remember. But an Ubisoft employee is quoted as saying, "Hey, are we competing with EA to be the most hated gaming company out there? Because this is how you do that.
Oh my
that
god.
was that
Like
was that
that's
was
on an
skill up. That was
internal.
skill up.
Was that?
Yeah, that was skill up.
Yeah, that's from a Skill Up video. Okay,
Yeah,
but that's actually from an internal chat
yeah,
that like you that was from Ubisoft's own internal message boards.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yikes.
I think if somebody were to buy them who's not into that, you just see Quartz get dropped. They just don't keep going after it.
I mean, possibly. I don't know.
But I also
It'd
I
be
don't think if somebody was going to, it's definitely not Xbox because they're already being
Mhm,
scrutinized for the Activision thing. So
mhm.
that's not. I don't
That'd be
think
another
they're.
huge thing.
Honestly, I don't. If I'm being honest, I don't want to see Ubisoft get acquired because then that automatically means EA is going to get acquired. Those are the two last like really big third party publishers that are out there. So I'd like to
2K,
see the.
Take
I
Two.
I don't. But I'm talking about multiple games. Like 2K basically makes 2K basketball. That's basically what they made. Take
Does
Two,
2K still publish? No, I don't think they still publish Borderlands.
yeah,
They published the first two Borderlands. I
Hmm.
think
yeah.
Epic's pretty
Like,
stupid
but
with
you
stuff
get what
now.
I'm saying. Like, that's basically buying them for like one IP.
Hmm.
When you look at EA and Ubisoft, you got multiple IPs that like big IPs, especially EA with all the
Yeah.
sports, and then you also got Battlefield underneath there and whatnot. And
There's Star
just
Wars
real,
titles.
yeah, Star Wars, and then speaking of Battlefield, I'm just gonna railroad this in here. Battlefield apparently blames Halo Infinite for the reason why they did so poorly, even
Harsh.
though the game just fucking blows. But they
Man,
just need to apparently point the finger, I guess.
it was a
So
pretty brutal juxtaposition. Like, Halo
yeah,
came in and was like, yo, this is fun as fuck. Let's
hmm
go. And Battlefield is like,
yeah,
wow, what the fuck is wrong with this?
yeah,
So Battlefield was like, "Oh yeah, we knew our game was buggy, but we thought it was in line with our other releases, so we thought it would be fine." And then they also were like, "Oh yeah," and it was also because Halo launched their surprise multiplayer launch. It made it hard for us to succeed. I was like, wait, back up. So first of all, you thought because your other releases have been shit and people have been complaining about it for years that meant that this time it was okay too.
yeah,
That was the thought, and then
yeah,
a shooter that's not horribly broken and isn't Call of Duty just happened to release in the same window and kick the fuck out of you, and you're like, how did this happen?
yeah,
How
yeah.
are we?
That is
It was
such,
that
that's,
It's that Eric Andre meme, right, where he
Yeah.
shoots somebody, and then why would Halo do this?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, dude. That's like the thing that people were really worried about when live service games became more of a thing. Games would release and they would be in a shitty state, but they'd get better over time. Like, that's them being like, yeah, that is the new norm. Games come out and they're shitty. That's just it. Like, that's not okay. That shouldn't be okay.
it's not okay, but continuously. I'm just gonna harp on this real quick. Why the fuck aren't the games that should be live service, aka goddamn sports titles, not live service? and then the shit that shouldn't be live service, aka all these fucking shooters, live service. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's part of the reason why Bungie is vaulting more content, because they want to have a live service fucking game, and they can't fit all the content on their current platform. It's stupid. Anyways, all right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do wonder if. So I don't think that they will be sued for this, but basically they are getting rid of content for a game that's still active that people paid for because what is it, March whatever. If
Yeah.
bye Forsaken.
Yeah.
You haven't played Forsaken yet, which is one of the better Destiny campaigns, despite the sadness. You know, you're fucked. And then that's a big part of the story. What happens to Cade is a big part of the story.
Yep.
So you just you don't get to experience that.
It's whack, dude. Like, from my perspective of Destiny, like, I was really into the PvP, and that would have affected me too, because they vault weapons. So it's like, if I like the Monte Carlo and that's my favorite weapon and I kick ass with it, and it gets vaulted, like, well, I guess I better learn how to play a different way and build a completely new setup for myself. Stupid.
Yeah, this is... So apparently this is stemming out of the fact that, like, when they built the game, it wasn't made to like handle this much content. Is really what I've read.
Stupid.
That could be totally not true, but that's what I've read, right? That's what the issue is. So if that's the fucking issue, make the next Destiny.
Might as well just make a fucking third one.
Right,
Take
like,
everything and start from scratch again, like you did when you made 2. You took everything out from 1 and then slowly add it back in.
Yeah, like,
or you just pull a fucking Warhammer, right? You do a Total War Warhammer. Because I was talking to Cody about this. I've never been a big fan of DLC for games.
right.
Backwards compatible DLC. Can you think of another game that does that? Because Total
That's
War
brilliant.
Warhammer and Warhammer 2, like, being able to port all of my content into the new version of the game is one of my favorite features that I've ever experienced. Like that was so cool, being able to, because you know the lizard men were not in the first one, and then they're in the second one. So now my Norse Gnask can go all the way over there and kick the fuck out of some lizard people.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I never thought about that until you mentioned it, and they are legit the only... It's the only game that does it. Game series, I guess you could say. But like, this is honestly, I won't be surprised if Bungie actually does get pushed back from this in some countries like the UK, because the UK is known for being like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know what I mean? And coming down on companies for stuff like this could partially be the reason, maybe, why Bungie wanted to get bought by Sony, because legal fees are a lot sometimes.
True,
you know what I mean? So. But honestly, no, this is just total fucking bullshit, though. Like, there's literally no excuse for this. I don't care. You can be a Destiny fan. That's fine. Like, I'm not a huge Destiny fan. But it doesn't matter. If you've paid for content, you should have access to it forever. That's just how it should work. And unless the game just disappears, right? The game, like, the servers die or wherever. You know what I mean? Okay, that's different.
Nintendo.
Ooh,
Oh, God. Yeah, that's true. Oh, God. I didn't realize I was leading us into that, but that's true.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Nintendo closing down to the 3DS and Wii U storefronts. Justin, what do you think? You're my Nintendo guy.
Yeah, so this is a bad thing. I mean, it's bound to happen, but it's particularly bad for Nintendo because so many of their games are just not able to be played any other way. They don't have, like, on Steam, you buy a game and years and years down the road, you can still play it on your PC. Maybe you have to do, like, some emulation of, like, a DOS box or whatever, but you can do it, right? For Nintendo, they have stuff on these eShops that is literally not available anywhere else. There's no way to play the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time except for through the eShop. So them shutting these down is going to make it so people just can't access them. And that's, like, you know, erasing the history of video games right there. It's just very pro-business and, like, anti what's the word, preservation.
Consumer.
Okay.
Yeah, so very unfortunate to see.
I do wonder, given the backlash, if they'll pull a Sony, because Sony did the same shit last year. Remember with the
Yeah, with
PS3 and the
PlayStation.
PSP,
Yeah,
they were going to shut down those storefronts, and people were like, "Hey, what the fuck?" Because there are, I don't know what psychopaths there are that still do this, but there are some psychopaths out there that still play their PSPs, and we're like, "Hey, I still use this fucking thing." There was actually a game dev that was like, "Hey, I was actually still making a game for the PSP, and now like
remember
I'm
that.
just fucked, I
Oh
guess."
man.
Yeah,
So like they extended it, and I think those shops are still open. So
yeah.
I'm not saying that Nintendo will, but it does make me wonder if it's possible that they could go, "Hey, maybe people do still want this."
And you know what I'm gonna tell you right now? You wanna know what I'm tell you? They're not gonna
They're
give a
not going
fucking
to.
shit because they don't
No.
care, because they didn't even enable Bluetooth until 4 years after releasing the fucking Switch, and it
Despite
was
the
the
hardware being there the whole time.
number 1 feature they everybody asked for.
For
Nintendo
real, for
doesn't give a
real.
fuck about
Oh
you,
my
like,
god.
they just don't. I'm
It's
yelling
fair.
again, I'm sorry. Oh my
No, it's
god.
fine.
Yeah, dude.
Uh,
It's very Nintendo
it
move, man.
So I will say I have argued the opposite side of this, obviously with the Mortal Kombat stuff with Tim before, right? For the pro business, but the difference is that is one game. This is literally like basically Nintendo's legacy and their whole eShop for their best selling console ever, and the 3DS. This is a little bit bigger than just Mortal Kombat not being like Mortal Kombat 4 or whatever not being on Steam. So I hate seeing this in particular.
Combat 4.
But
I was talking about MK9, but okay.
well, I couldn't remember which one it was, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just this is just way bigger in that aspect or whatever. So I really do hate seeing this.
Yeah,
But you know,
it'd be one thing if Nintendo would like put all of these things somewhere else. If I could
right?
have that library somewhere, if that was tied to like my Nintendo Switch Online subscription or like put it
Mhm.
in its own expansion pack, whatever, just so that I had access to those games,
Yeah,
that would be cool with me. As long as they're still available to be played somewhere, that would be great. But
yeah.
there's so many titles that are going to be lost.
Here's a wild idea. People use, whether Nintendo likes it or not, people use emulators, right? Nintendo obviously has the original ROMs. Now, the ROMs are out there on the internet for people to privateer all they want. But what they could just fucking do, make a ROM shop. Sell a licensed version of the ROM for people to use in their fucking emulators, since you can't buy a new 3DS anymore, right? You could find, I'm sure you could pay an ungodly amount for an unopened one, but
Oh,
it's
sure.
not actually new. It was actually manufactured years ago. Same with the Game Boy and all that, right? Although there are people who make custom Game Boys, which is kind of a. But like, fucking, if you just sell them, you still get the money for that purchase, and people can still play their fucking games.
Yeah, dude, it's like that Gabe Newell quote where he was like, "This is why this is Steam's like anti-piracy system. We make it easier to just buy the game than it is to pirate it." Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's very true.
and it fucking works.
Hmm.
That's all. I'm be honest. That's like 90% of the reason why I started using Steam. It's because it's just so simple, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what. When I was a teenager, my dad definitely taught me how to get any game I wanted. Yeah, I know how to do it, but I'd just rather use Steam because guaranteed to work. I don't go through all the other hassle and all that other shit or
Yep.
whatever. It's the same thing with this. It doesn't make any sense. Actually, it does make sense from a business perspective because Nintendo does the same shit that Disney does. They vault their stuff, and then on a 20th anniversary or something like that, they're like, "Guess what? Guess what's back? Limited time. Here you fucking go." Or whatever, and it's like the 15th time they've released Ocarina of Time for you to be able to play again. But you want to know what? You're
Buy
still
it
gonna
all
buy
over
it because
again. Yeah.
you're now a 4-year-old kid that you had when you were 45 instead of when you were 30. Hasn't had a chance to play it, and you can't play it on any of your old systems because they broke or some shit. You know what I mean? It's just that's
Yeah.
just what it is, and it's just
But you
it's
can play them
frustrating.
on your phone.
Yeah. So pretty
Yeah,
much, people can go ahead and still add funds via their credit card until May 23rd. Come late August, you can no longer use eShop cards to add funds, and the service is fully shutting down March of 2023. So, they're gonna keep like you can still like access and play your games and shit. And they also said that they'd be keeping online play functionality working, which I thought was interesting. But you need to buy the shit before it shuts down. So if there's any games you want to get out there, I would buy them now.
I do want to put this out there. You want to know the craziest fucking shit I saw at Target the other day? I was just browsing Target games, just kind of whatever. And no joke, I saw Let's Go Pikachu Pokemon game disc, right? $49.99. No shit, right above it, the digital code that you could buy, $59.99. I was like, huh? One, there's no packaging. Two, huh? Like,
Pokemon
what the
games,
fuck kind of
dude.
sense does this make?
That's some
Or
Nintendo shit right there.
my mind was blown. I should have taken a picture of it now that I think about it. I was just kind of in a hurry trying to do something else. I was just kind of glancing at it. And I literally, I did that double take.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
what
a
the
lot of
fuck?
people call that the like Nintendo tax or the Pokemon tax.
Yeah,
Shit's wild.
yeah, it blew my mind. Anyways, that was weird. But you want to know who isn't doing shitty stuff right now? Who we were just talking about? It's fucking Valve, and they're partnering with iFixit, so you can replace. You got stick drift with your Steam Deck. You can fix that shit yourself.
Yeah, I was
I'm
really
excited.
glad to see this. iFixit is just a great website in general. I love everything
Yeah.
they're doing. Super great guides on there. Wonderful to see Valve working with them on this.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. Just because, I mean, like Tim. I mean, Tim has the most games in the Steam library out of basically anybody. But I mean,
up, Cody.
I'm a close second, with however many fucking games I have. I'm gonna see because I actually don't remember how many games I have. Let's see how many games I have. I have the 773 video games
Pretty
on
good.
Steam, so that Steam Deck's really gonna get some work put into it. As it once it comes out.
I might be over 1,000.
Are you 1,000 now because of Humble Bundle?
So my favorites list has 40. Uncategorized has 907. Oh, that's games and software. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
Turn off
Yeah,
the
hold
software.
on now.
Hold off. Okay, that didn't make a difference. Yeah, I'm over that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Anyways,
I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised to see that number. Maybe I should hold off on Humble Bundle for a few months. Speaking of finding physical versions of games that are cheaper than you would think, my wife went to Half Price Books today.
Oh yeah.
And when I got my Xbox One, one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made was I traded in a bunch of my favorite games from the Xbox 360, which I still play sometimes.
Oh no.
And my rationale was, oh, I own these games on PC, but like, I still have my collection, and there were holes in it, and so she knows me, and so today she got me Mass Effect 3, Diablo 3, and I don't know how this is actually possible, a still unopened copy of Mass Effect 2.
Wow.
And it's fucking $7, $7.99.
That's crazy.
Hey, I want you to do something real quick.
Huh.
I want you to go on Amazon and look at how much an unopened copy of Mass Effect 2 sells for.
Oh man.
Because I'm going to tell you what, I was looking into with some of this money I'm about to get, about taking a little bit of that and starting to do my own little flipping, like side business on like the weekends and stuff, to have some fun with it.
So depending on where I look, it looks like it's anywhere from. Well, this one says brand new, but it's the PC version, $12. This one's $42 on Mercari, factory sealed for the PS3.
It's up there.
Yeah.
So then this is not like the collector's edition or anything, but like still, like this is this is my favorite Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2.
I think it's most people's. Yeah, I think it's most people's favorite Mass Effect.
And like I might not ever open this box because I do have the game digitally. But like I also do play my Xbox.
It's nice to have.
So my Xbox 360. Yeah. Like I don't know
the
if
physical
if
copies of things.
Will the mic pick this up?
I don't know. Do you have noise suppression on?
I do.
Are you trying to get the Xbox 360 sound turning on?
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can kind of see it behind me. There's my Gears of War 360 right there that I've been meaning to hook up.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever,
Yeah,
turn this
dude.
way. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, no, that's I don't know. That's cool that it's completely unopened though. I will say that.
Yeah, I didn't know it was when she picked it up. She was like, "Hey," she's like, "Hey, what were the games that you were looking for?" I was like, "Okay, Dark Souls,
Yep.
Dark Souls 2." She's like, "No, they don't have those." I was like, "All right, all right, all right." Diablo 3. She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Is it the Reaper of Souls edition?" She's like, "No." I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. It's not a big deal."
Yeah.
She's like, "Okay." And then she's like, "They have the Mass Effect games." I was like, "Which ones?" She's like, "They have Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3." I was like, "Yes."
Dang.
Would you please?
Oh yeah.
Yes, please.
One of them's just factory new. So that's dope.
And also this doesn't count as gaming hardware. So that you promise not to buy after buying a laptop.
I know
Yeah.
what I promised not to buy was new computer parts, and I said after the Steam Deck comes, I will not buy. My Steam Deck hasn't come yet, so if I were to buy a new graphics card or something,
Plenty of room.
I'm not going to. That'd be stupid.
He's like, I still have wiggle room.
I
don't
was
trap
very,
me.
very careful with my wording, and I said after my Steam Deck comes, I'm not buying anything else.
Speaking of hardware, did you guys see the system requirements for Elden Ring?
No, but I'm gonna look now because I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, dude.
And RX 570 is the recommended minimum, or is the recommended spec now?
No.
So that was
The
interesting.
RX Vega
Was that the minimum now?
56 is the recommended. The minimum was the 580.
580 is the minimum now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Minimum 12 gigs of RAM.
Oh wow.
That's a jump from what I'm used to seeing for minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Mhm.
I've seen too many games that the minimum wasn't 8, and like 12 is very specific.
Yeah.
Who the fuck has 12?
It's a weird number, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
it
feel
is.
like
16 is the recommended,
usually,
but they're like, you can get by with 12.
Yeah.
What? That's such strange. 4812. I got 3 sticks of RAM. But yeah, it's going to be DirectX 12 only. There's not going to be a DirectX 11 version of it. It's going to be 60 gigs. Not bad.
Not terrible.
Yeah. The recommended also mentions Windows 11.
Here's a question. Am I the only one of us? Well, this isn't the question that I had. Am I the only one of us that has a Windows 11 machine right now?
Probably.
I've
Yeah.
not
Because like, none of my machines are Windows 11 except my new laptop that came with Windows 11 on it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's weird. I wonder if it's. I mean, it's still work. But
Can we?
the minimum processor is a 3300X, right?
Mhm.
For an AMD one or 8400. I'm surprised it's an 8400. That's a pretty still good CPU in 2022. So, but with a 3300X being the minimum, I have upstairs a Ryzen 2600, which is. Would that fall above or below the minimum because it's older, but it's also a higher tier Ryzen processor?
Because that's the Ryzen 5?
It's an R5 instead of an R3.
See, that's where all this nomenclature gets confusing, you know? Like, it's hard to say where that falls. That's where I just Google the CPU hierarchy chart, and I'm like, where is it visually? Okay, that looks good.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, I mean, if I'm playing it on that machine, I'm probably streaming it off of this machine anyway, because I'll just get more FPS that way. But like, it's fine.
Justin and I were talking about this earlier, Tim, before you got in the chat. Can we just talk about why the fuck doesn't Elden Ring have cross-platform multiplayer? Because I think that's atrocious.
Come on, From.
I don't think that would be great if it did, but I don't think any FromSoft game has.
No,
they don't, and that's kind of
my
point. With how much of a departure Elden Ring is to make like it more accessible for you to play with your friends and stuff. Because I will say, I would much rather play this on my PS5 on this TV. That I don't know if it doesn't show up in the thing, but on my TV right here than playing it on my monitor personally. Like I like my monitor, don't get me wrong, monitor's fine, whatever. OLED TV, is this better? You know what I mean? Like, but if I want to play with you guys,
a different experience.
I have to buy it on PSC. So I'm pretty disappointed at that kind of deal. Like,
It is unfortunate, you know, we're still in an age where players are often restricted to their you know, system of choice that they're playing on when
yeah,
it comes to multiplayer.
yeah. I'm just
Just
I'm really
curious
disappointed.
because I was looking. I was like, has FromSoft ever made a cross-platform game? I was like,
No.
well, I thought if there had maybe been an Elden Ring game that had come out, or not Elden Ring, sorry,
No.
Armored Core game that had come out relatively recently. But
Yeah.
like, no, the last Armored Core game came out on like the PS3, Xbox 360 area
Yep.
from what I'm
Mhm.
Yep.
seeing.
Yep.
But
Armored
like,
Core
when
4, I
I
believe.
when I five, it'd be five, wouldn't it?
I
V
don't remember.
I'm not
verdict day.
sure.
Oh, was it
Anyway,
V? Okay.
I
Anyways.
think so. Yeah, because I've been trying to find it forever because I had it at one point. Now I don't because
Ooh.
fucking Xbox One. Anyway, that's one of the games that I am looking for still. But I was googling and apparently they're making a new Armored Core game, or at least that's
I saw,
supposedly been leaked.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Armored Core 6 is coming, and I actually that is not something I knew I needed.
But now you want it.
Now I want it, and I'm probably gonna. I think I have Metal Wolf. I'm probably gonna install Metal Wolf at some point
Oh
here.
my
Just kind of
god,
like
No.
get back
Metal
into
Wolf
that.
Chaos or
I think,
whatever.
Yeah.
That
yeah, I think
super
I have it on
American game.
GOG.
I would love to see a playthrough of that, dude. That sounds so fun.
I can't remember if I have it on GOG or if I have it on my 360. I might have it on my 360, so I might need to hook up the cap card and do some recording.
Yeah, I never played Armored Core, but I do enjoy
Oh, so
mecha
good.
games. There's this old one on the Dreamcast called like Slave Zero or something that I was
Mhm.
very into.
Okay, yeah.
I played a lot of the multiplayer free to play one Hawken on PC. I really
Hawken was
enjoyed that
cool.
one. I was like, I felt very immersed. I haven't played Titanfall 2, but I've heard that's amazing first person mech experience.
MechWarrior 5 is not bad. It feels like old MechWarrior, and it is on Game Pass still. It's been on Game Pass since
Yeah.
day one, and it's
Yeah.
it's actually pretty fun. I play it here and there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's decent.
yeah, it's fun. I mean, like if you played any MechWarrior game as a kid, playing MechWarrior 5 is gonna bring back nostalgia. There's even a if you've ever played MechWarrior 2, and I think this line is actually referenced in a lot of mecha games now, but it's kill the meat, save the metal.
Oh hell yeah.
They say it in
Yeah.
5, and I was like, I'm 8 years old on my mom's PC again. Let's
Hell yeah.
go. Yeah,
Love
my mom
that.
was a great parent. I got to play MechWarrior 2 on her computer with headphones on, hearing "Kill the meat, save the metal." I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Tim's formative
Uh,
years.
Yeah.
Explains why my son yells "blood for the blood god."
100%. As he cracks a monster at fucking
Oh my
11 o'clock at night.
goodness. This
I
man.
am tired and I've had a very long day and I want to play more video games.
I hear
I
you.
hear
I
you.
hear you.
I hear you. All right. Well, that's all we got, boys. Well, actually, I take it back. Justin, do you
Oh,
want to talk about Sea of Thieves?
I
Or do
mean,
you
that
want
can
to?
just be my closing thought.
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, Sea of Thieves, they dropped the beginning of their new narrative content, right? So these are
Mhm.
these little like mystery adventure things that are leading to wider changes in the game.
Mhm.
And they just dropped the first one yesterday. And so me and my buddy jumped in there to check it out. And you'd think I would have learned my lesson about trying to do new content day one, but it was buggy. We had some issues with it. But that's, you know, that's par for the course. The actual content was enjoyable. I'm very excited to see what they're doing with the narrative. It's basically like there's this really annoying giant ghost skull in the sky who would always yell at you, and he was really annoying, and he had this stupid world event that no one liked. He's gone now, but he's trying to start a war and bring all these spirits into like the world of Sea of Thieves to like kill everybody and
Oh,
take over. And so
that's
it's
cool.
kind of leading up to that. There weren't any like player choices yet, but they've hinted that
Mhm.
there will be player driven things. So like players will choose outcomes based on their decisions. I'm looking forward to seeing that. They're dropping these every month, it sounds like. And they run for like a week or so, a week or two maybe. Excited to see how it shapes up. And they're still doing their seasonal, like every 3 months, big content drops. So they're just doing more and more shit.
Uh, Question: Is Sea of Thieves the game you've played the most ever?
No, I don't think so. I'd be
I
surprised if it
mean,
was.
I would not.
do you have it on
You've been
Steam or do
talking
you have
about
it?
it.
No,
I'm gonna
it's
check
on
your
it's on
hours.
Game Pass, so I can't. I don't know.
Okay.
You've been talking about. I want to say you've been talking about Sea of Thieves consistently for about 3 years.
Oh, longer than
Yeah.
that. Probably the entire length of OLIP,
I
or at
It
least since
hasn't
Game
been out
Pass has
that long.
existed.
It didn't come out when I was in Kuwait. It came
mean,
out a
it's
couple years
definitely
later.
up there. You know, it's
Yeah.
definitely up there. I don't know if it's like my most played game, but it could be. It's possible. You
Yeah.
know, I think about like my most played games, and they're like 200 plus hours. Mountain Blade Warband. That's the one. It would probably that'd be a run for the money.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard you say that, and my soul died a little bit.
Why? Because Bannerlord's never gonna overtake that.
No, that's not why. You said I think about my most played games, and I think about 200 plus hours, and just to put that in perspective, that's less than I put into PUBG.
Yeah.
What do you got in
Like,
PUBG?
not everybody's worked overnights.
That's not
Ben.
my most played game.
Yeah, not everybody worked overnights.
Oh dear
That's
lord.
funny.
I think,
Anyways,
yeah, okay.
Tim, what's your closing thought other than you have no life to a lot of games?
Oh god. That actually put something in perspective for me when he said that. Like
It just now had it took you that
anyway,
long to get perspective? The
it's
fuck?
well I no, I think like okay, I know that I've played some video games way more than most people. But like in my circle of friends, I have a lot of friends who play a lot of video games. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, there's got to be a game somewhere that Justin's played 1,000 hours.
No.
There's
Not on
gotta be
Steam
multiple
anyway.
games that Cody's put
No.
500 hours in. Because
No.
like, I have multiple games that I have 500 plus hours in, and I put over 1,000 hours in Arma 3, and that's a painful thought. Anyway, that's not my closing thought though.
Painful, but not the closing one.
Not the closing one. My closing thought is that I actually am kind of curious to see what I hear more and more and more devices with. Oh yeah, it's gonna have FSR on it. Like now the Switch,
FSR being
the Steam Deck, FSR being AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or the new driver-based solution is called Radeon Super Resolution. It's the same fucking thing. It's they're upscaling things, so the game gets rendered at a lower resolution and blown up to the native resolution, and it does it with relatively little impact to the visual quality or fidelity of the game, but a big impact on your frame rate. So it's going to enable things like, I mean, it should, if it's actually going to Switch, it's going to make Switch games run a hell of a lot smoother. It's going to make the Steam Deck able to play games that otherwise it might not be able to handle with that little APU in it. And I just wonder how much breadth when it these solutions, because Nvidia has a similar solution, when these things get introduced on a driver level across the board, how much life that could breathe into older cards like people's 1060 and 1080. So with the graphics card market being the shit show it is, like, are we gonna actually get to a point where people are just not gonna have to upgrade as frequently because these companies are like, hey, use your old stuff, we'll make it easier for you, because that's what it kind of feels like, which is not a bad thing. Also, uh, backwards compatible DLC is like the best thing ever. I think that just needs to be a thing.
That's
So that's my
huge.
closing thought. Yeah, that'd be huge.
All good points. I'm gonna say, if you guys are looking for a cheapo game to buy, $7 on Steam. Roguelike Tales of Maj Ayal, which I probably butchered that, but I'm sure you can Google it. Watch Splattercat gaming playthrough today. Very, very, very in-depth roguelite. That I think a lot of people would have fun. A lot of people would have fun with.
It reminds me of a game that I have, and I
Very
bet that
old
you've
school
probably
looking.
watched a thing.
Yeah, it's old school looking because it's been basically he said. Well, let's put it this way: there's 1,782 achievements because it's been in development for so fucking long.
Wow.
It reminds me of a game I own called Rogue Empire. When I just looking at the gameplay, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
But I picked it up after I actually bought it with all the DLC, which was only $15. I mean, and apparently it just has thousands of hours of content, which I can probably agree with now looking at the amount of achievements that are in the fucking game.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
yeah, cheapo game, lots of content, and but I'm gonna go play Total War probably.
Oh wait, one more thing. Do you guys know what class in Elden Ring you want to start as?
I have no idea. I'm
Okay.
going into Elden Ring completely blind.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Man.
which is normally what I do with Dark
For my
Souls games.
first playthrough, I really am curious. I really want to try out the mage class with these new magic abilities.
Yeah.
So like I might go for the first time since Dark Souls 1 mage on my first playthrough.
Ooh.
Usually I go thief or knight,
Nice.
depending on if I want a dex or a strength build. Or I wanted to say monk, but cleric.
one of us should Skyrim it with the
Skyrim it?
Stealth archer? You can.
Yeah.
There's stealth in
yeah.
Elden Ring. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the horse.
No.
Yeah, that
Right
actually
up every
that too.
mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm excited for that. That's gonna be great.
So am I. I'm excited to play that with you boys. So.
All right.
Alrighty.
Another day of
That's it
Olaf
for
done. Next week we'll be playing Elden Ring, probably.
Oh, it's the third Friday too, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. It could become
Actually, is today
But-
the third Friday?
Well, I
It
don't
is.
know.
It is the third Friday.
It is, but during the what we've been playing section, the answer will almost certainly be Elden.
Yeah, we'll have some
100%.
thoughts, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha.
All right.
I have one more closing thought.
Okay.
Sorry. I said you betcha, and I just thought of something. Do you want to have your mind blown?
Yes.
Every time a kid says bet, they're just shortening you betcha.
That's yeah.
That is the worst closing thought. And
I've already had that thought, Tim.
I did it. Anyway, sorry.
Oh,
It blew
man.
my mind.
Okay. All right. We love you all. We'll see you next week.
Bet.
Bye.